Perfect. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, I got to tell you, I'm a huge SpongeBob fan, and I love that SpongeBob has lasted through the generations because now my kids watch SpongeBob. So, what does it mean to you that this is something that everyone loves so much?
It's such a wild experience. It's a crazy journey. I mean, who would have thunk it 25 years ago? You know, when you book a job, you have no idea that something could last 25 years. It's unheard of in our industry. So I'm just incredibly grateful.
And now you have your own movie,
What?
finally.
How did that happen?
I'm so excited. I'm like, Sandy is getting the love. Not that she's never, she always gets the love she deserves, but
Of course.
now
Yeah,
she's this full movie.
that's another crazy thing because I kind of settled in like 25 years, right? I settled into my like, oh, I'm just gonna kind of be over here and do my thing, and the guys can do their thing. And then I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, what was your reaction when they were like, "Hey, we want you to do a Sandy Cheeks movie"?
Well, honestly, first I didn't believe them because Hollywood is Hollywood, right? And I'm like, yeah, sure, you're gonna, you know. And then it actually happened, and I was like, oh wow, look at that. Okay, so yeah, it's really exciting. I can't wait for it to air. I can't wait to hear what people think about it. Of course, I only want them to say nice things, and if anybody says something not nice, I'm just gonna like, we're just gonna scroll past
Yeah,
that.
as you
Scroll past
should,
that.
as you should. Oh man, so what was it like when you first got the script? Were you immediately like, "Yes, this is the perfect story for Sandy"?
Yeah, the funnest part for me was seeing the visuals and the storyboards that the director, Liza Johnson, had put together. Like it was so beautiful. And I think that's the thing that got me most excited. I mean, obviously it was a great script, but I'm such a visual person
Mhm.
that seeing that and the colors and then seeing the end result and how truly like I am mesmerized by her fur. They did
Yeah.
such a good job. And I was mesmerized. Like, I don't remember ever watching a movie that was live action and CG in the way this is, where I was so taken into the world where I had moments where I didn't really even register which was which.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just so proud of it. Our team, the artists and the technology, they just did a amazing job.
I'm so excited to see it. My kids are so excited to see it. But what have you felt about this evolution of Sandy? Because, like, you talk about the look, and you think back to like the first time we saw her, and now it's crazy just how animation has evolved.
It is crazy to watch the changes in technology are phenomenal. I mean, I have love for all the different ways, right? Like early on, I it was amazing to go back into production and watch them actually painting cells, right? That blew my mind. And then when it shifted over to them painting within the computer in a different way, that blew my mind, right? Because that it's the same artistry, just a different medium, right?
Mhm.
And then switch to this where they are incorporating the live action and the it's been beautiful and awe-inspiring at every single junket for all different reasons.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's crazy. It's so beautiful.
it is.
Um,
It's wild.
it's crazy. I have such a like admiration for the people that can do that because I do not have an artistic bone in my body.
I do it with construction. I can't do it with other things.
It's crazy, right? I'm
Yeah,
like the way that it's so great because I love how she looks the same, right? But she looks different.
different. Right, right. She's grown, and I noticed too, like the subtleties of my performance change too. I was thinking about that like when you're with your, I don't know where you're from. I'm from Ohio. But when you're with your family, like my dad was a New Yorker, okay?
Mhm.
So he was the way he was when we were all together. But when we would go back to New York to visit family, he'd become a New Yorker. Like
Mhm.
it would come out, right? And when I was watching this movie for the first time, I was like, "Oh, you can tell she's with her family. Like she is way Texan. Like she
Yeah.
she you know, like
Yeah.
she goes in when she's with her family. And so that was kind of a funny thing that I noticed that I didn't even realize performance wise that I was doing.
Yeah. I mean, because it makes sense. Like exactly what you said. She has the little bit of Texan in her when she's around SpongeBob and
Yeah,
Patrick. And
yeah,
but when she goes with them, it's like
it's
all
all
in.
in.
I love it. Well, what can you tease about the movie for fans? Because I'm very excited to get to see her with her family, like you said, and her go on this journey. But
What can I tease about the movie? Just that you're going to see all kinds of things you've never seen before. You're going to see her do things and I I don't know. There's moments, man. I love the villain. You're going to meet her family. So
yes.
that's the thing. You're going to learn a lot more about like who she is and why she is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know about you, but anytime, like if I have a best friend or whatever, and then you meet that person's family and you're like, oh,
Yeah. Yes. You're like, I get it.
now you make sense. Like, right? And I
Yes.
feel that about Sandy. People are going to be like, I got you. Now I see why you did what you did.
I love that so much. Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean because I definitely have friends that are like that. When you finally meet their family, you're like, oh, okay.
Right. Or like you're
There you
dating,
are.
right? You're dating who's now your spouse, right? And
Mhm.
then you meet
Yes.
the in-laws and you're like, yep,
Yep. Exactly. I get it. Well, you've been doing Sandy for so long. Do you think there's anything you've actually learned from her along the way?
most definitely. She she is much more assertive and secure in her capabilities
Mhm.
than I was. And I feel like that's rubbing off on me. I feel like I'm getting, well, it should after 25 years, but I feel like I'm getting better at standing up for myself and letting people know what I actually need or what I want than I used to be. I'm a recovering people pleaser.
Recovered people. I love that. I am very much a people pleaser, so I totally get what you're
So I'd
saying.
like more Sandy
Yeah.
and less old me.
Perfect. And then for you guys, did you guys ever get to like back that like in the day, like you and Tom and Bill, did you ever get to record together? Because I know that's
Okay,
not really common now.
we always did. So we always recorded as a play. We always were in the room together. The director, Steve Hillenberg, the creator, would sit in the room with us. We all were together that first 20 whatever years. It wasn't until COVID that we started recording separately because we had to, obviously. That was a journey in and of itself because none of us, I mean, I'm not a sound engineer and I
Yeah.
suddenly had to set everything up in my, like, it was absurd. But after COVID, it still has been a little more sporadic than we would like
Mhm.
because they're still not necessarily comfortable having us all in the room like we used to be. But it's becoming more so. Now there'll be like 3 or 4 of us in the room at the same
Mhm.
time. And it's bringing back some of that joy of being together. It's really great.
I was gonna say, what is that like? That because I know I've interviewed both of them before, and they're so much fun.
Yeah, well, we get less work done when we're all together for sure.
Maybe that's really what they mean by like we're not comfortable with you together, as in we only have a couple hours, guys.
Right, exactly, because we have too much fun and they can't rein us in. That's probably true.
I love it. I love it. What is it do you think about SpongeBob as a whole that has made it so iconic for generations through the years?
I think it's a combination of the simplicity of the stories, like that it's so relatable, right? Everybody knows, everybody has the crabby neighbor
Mm-hmm.
or the crabby relative. Everybody has the person who's a little too materialistic or trying to get world domination or like they're iconic pieces of our world that we can relate to. But I also think it's that it's been such a it's been such a happy place to come that it feels familiar and it's comforting
Mm-hmm.
always. Like there's never an episode that you click that's not going to end up making you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's been part of why it's lasted as long as it has.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Like I said, it's something I watched, and now I'm like watching with my kids, and then we go back and watch the older stuff because they're like, "Wait, I want to see more." And something I feel like about SpongeBob is you can kind of jump in wherever. You know what I mean? If you
Oh
start
yeah.
on, and is the movie? Do you feel like it could be a standalone and an introduction to the SpongeBob world for people?
Oh sure. I mean, it would be from a different perspective, right? Because you'd see Sandy and her family and all that, and then you would work back towards the others. But most definitely, it works either way. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I love it. We're so excited for it. I congratulations. I'm so excited that Sandy has her movie because we've always loved Sandy.
Thank
She's so
you.
much fun. But the last question before we wrap is
Yeah.
how would you describe the movie for people? Like get them excited for it and like what are they in store for?
I'd say it's just a great big rousing yeehaw adventure.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.